Birchwood because of the benefits. The benefit it is to each and every student. Beginning in the first grade, there's a poetry show. Second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, seventh, eighth, and ninth, eighth. So over those years, the benefit that they have by memorizing poems by great poets, that they have these high ideas, high thoughts about truth and beauty and the experiences of human beings, or the funny poems that have rhythm and melody that lives in them, along with the wordplay. It's just such a rich experience to get poetry into their soul. And over a period of 8 years, there's been a lot of poetry. And the benefits of memorization goes way beyond even the poetry show purpose. So I recommend that you read what we put in here on the value of memorization. Also, the students learn stage presence. And it's so fun for us to see a shy third grader that, if they talk like this, and then watch them grow. And what you'll see tonight in 7th and 8th graders is just so impressive, so delightful. So we know you're going to really enjoy the show, and I'm going to turn over the real welcome to the 8th grade.
We're coming together to celebrate. Come on, celebrate.
We invite you to celebrate with us today as we celebrate life
and all the wonderful things in our human lives that we all share.
No matter where we are from or what we believe, we all celebrate family. We all celebrate the beauty and messages of nature.
We all celebrate courage and compassion, truth and beauty.
We all celebrate paths of wisdom and fulfillment.
It's time to come together. Everyone around the world, come on.
A celebration to last throughout the years. Don't wait, there's a party going on right here.
Celebrate!
Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on. Yeah. It's your celebration. celebrate your party with you. Come on. To laugh throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We can celebrate your party with you. Come on. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. We're gonna celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on. Here's your celebration. Celebrate! Celebrate! Celebrate good times, come on. Celebrate good times, come on.
There's a party going on right here, a celebration to last throughout the years.
So bring your good times and your laughter too.
We gon' celebrate your party with you. Come on now.
Our 7th grade class has selected poems that celebrate truth and beauty.
In our classroom, we have discussed the last lines of a poem by John Keats. Beauty is truth, truth beauty. That is all you know on earth and all you need to know.
We will share different aspects of truth, such as true ideas, true feelings, and being true to ourselves.
And we will share poems that show different aspects of beauty, including the beauty of nature and how beautiful it is to see virtues, such as kindness, shine out of human beings.
When you think about truth and beauty,
That's
that's a lot to celebrate.
The first poem is called Introduction to Poetry by Billy Collins.
The poet explains the true way to read poetry is not to beat it over the head, to force a single meaning from it.
I asked them to take a poem and hold it up to a light, like a color slide.
Or press an ear against its hive.
I say, drop a mouse into a poem and watch him probe his way out.
Or walk inside the poem's room and feel the walls for a light switch.
I want them to water ski across the surface of a poem, waving at the author's name on the shore.
But all they want to do is tie the poem to a chair with rope and torture a confession out of it.
They began beating it with a hose to find out what it really means.
This poem shows us that each of us have something that makes us truly happy. The Reason I Like Chocolate by Nikki Giovanni.
The reason I like chocolate is I can lick my fingers, and nobody tells me I'm not polite.
I especially like scary movies because I can snuggle with mommy or my big sister and they don't laugh.
I like to cry sometimes because everybody says, "What's the matter? Don't cry."
And I like books for all those reasons.
But mostly because they just make me happy. And I really like to be happy.
These are 3 poems by Emily Dickinson.
Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight. The truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind.
He ate and drank the precious words. His spirit grew robust. He knew no more that he was poor, nor that his frame was dust.
He danced along the dingy days, but this bequest of wings was but a book. What liberty!
What liberty a loosened spirit brings. Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul
And sings the tune without the words and never stops at all.
and sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm.
That could abash the little bird that kept so many warm.
I've heard it on the chillest lands and on the strangest sea.
Yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
In this poem, we see a true aspect of our human experience, that no one can go through life without others. Alone, by Maya Angelou.
Alone, alone,
Alone. Lying, thinking, last night. How to find my soul a home.
Where water is not thirsty, and bread loaf is not stone.
I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong.
That nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone.
There are some millionaires with money they can't use.
Their wives run around like banshees. Their children sing the blues.
They've got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stone.
But nobody, no nobody, can make it out here alone.
Alone, all alone. Nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone.
Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know.
Storm clouds are gathering. The wind is gonna blow.
The race of man is suffering, and I can hear the moan.
'Cause nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone. Nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone.
Bashu, the master of the haiku form, shows us glimpses of beauty in these 4 haiku poems. Moonless night, a powerful wind embraces the ancient cedars.
Departing autumn, hands spread open, chestnut burrs.
The sea darkens. The voices of the wild ducks are faintly white.
Falling sick on a journey, my dream goes wandering over a field of dried grass.
Sometimes we are captivated by the beauty of nature all around us. It can even bring us calm during our days. Over the Weather by Naomi Shihab Nye.
We forget about the spaciousness above the clouds.
But it's up there. The sun's up there too.
When words we hear don't fit the day,
When we worry what we did or didn't do,
What if we close our eyes, say any word we love that makes us feel calm, slip it into the atmosphere and ride.
creamy miles of quiets,
Giant swoop of blue. If we open up our eyes, the beauty of nature will soar through our hearts.
My Heart Soars by Chief Dan George.
The beauty of the trees.
The softness of the air.
The fragrance of the grass.
Speaks to me.
the summit of the mountain
The thunder of the sky.
The rhythm of the sea.
speaks to me.
The faintness of the stars.
The freshness of the morning
The dewdrop on the flower.
speaks to me.
The strength of fire.
The taste of salmon.
the trail of the sun.
And the light that never goes away.
They speak to me,
And my heart soars.
The poet Mary Oliver reveals to us in these two poems that if we pay attention, the beauty of even smaller things in nature can lead us to higher truths.
The first poem is Messenger.
My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, there the hummingbirds, equal seekers of sweetness.
Here the quickening yeast. There the blue plums. Here the clam deep in speckled sand.
Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still half perfect?
Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work.
Which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished.
The phoebe, the delphinium, the sheep in the pasture and the pasture.
Which is mostly rejoicing since all the ingredients are here.
Which is gratitude, to be given a mind and a heart, and these body clothes.
A mouth of which to give shouts of joy to the moth and the wren.
To the sleepy dug-up clam, telling them all, over and over, how it is that we live forever.
The second poem by Mary Oliver is Praying.
It doesn't have to be the blue iris
It could be weeds in a vacant lot.
or a few small stones.
Just pay attention, then patch.
A few words together, and don't try
To make them elaborate, this isn't.
a contest, but the doorway.
Into thanks in a silence in which.
Another voice may speak. Hear what the poet Rumi says about truth.
A pure heart open to the light will be filled with the very essence of truth.
In the next lighthearted poems, we discovered that all creatures act in ways that are true to their natures. They just can't help it.
We just can't help it.
The weasels are here.
The turtles are here.
The yaks are here.
The hounds are here. The cows are here. The hippos are here.
The flea is here.
The fly is here.
From portal to portal by Carla Cuskin. From portal to portal trudges the turtle, who turtles a toadstool and treads through the myrtle. Stops here and there to speak to a stove. A turtle's a mortal who doesn't much chortle. From portal to portal, he turtles alone.
The Hound by Kay Starbird. It's funny to look at a hurrying hound
pursuing a scent that's attractive. He gallops around with his nose to the ground and only the back of him active. And here comes the hippo. He's got some interesting habits.
Habits of the Hippopotamus by Arthur Giederman.
Look, there's 4 of us. Does the poet mean hippopotami?
No, hippopotamus.
Oh.
The hippopotamus is big and huge of head and broad of bustle. The limbs on which he rolls along are big with hippopotamuscle.
He does not greatly care for sweets like ice cream, apple pie, or custard, but takes to flavor to what he eats, a little hippopotam mustard.
The hippopotamus is true to all his principles and just. He always tries his best to do the things one hippopotam must.
He never rides in trucks or trams, in taxicabs or omnibuses, and so keeps out of traffic jams and other hippopotamuses.
You should never seize a weasel by the tail. You should never seize a weasel by the tail.
You only have to say it once.
But I'm afraid of weasels. You should never squeeze a weasel, for you might displease the weasel, and don't ever seize a weasel by the tail.
Let his tail blow in the breeze. If you pull it, he will sneeze, for the weasel's constitutions tend to be a little frail.
Yes, the weasel wheezes easily. The weasel freezes easily. The weasel's tan complexion rather suddenly turns pale.
So don't displease or tease a weasel, squeeze or freeze or wheeze a weasel, and don't ever seize a weasel by the tail.
Yakety yak.
No! Yakety yak!
Yakety yak. Yickety yak.
Yickety yakety yickety yak. The yak has a scruffly back.
Some yaks are brown yaks and some yaks are black. Yickety yakety yickety yak. Sniggledy snaggledy sniggledy snag. The yak is covered with shiggly shag.
He walks with his higgledy zaggledy zag. Sniggledy snaggledy sniggledy snag.
The next 3 poems are by Jack Prelutsky. Listen very closely.
Very closely.
Because you will understand them if you don't. The cow.
The cow mainly moves as she chooses to move, and she chooses to move as she chooses. She furthermore chews as she chooses to chew, and she chooses to chew as she muses. If she chooses to move, she may move to amuse, or just to move as she chooses. If she chooses to chew, she may moo as she chews, or may chew just to chew as she muses. Moo. Here comes a fly and a flea and a flue.
By Anonymous.
A fly and a flea and a flue were in prison, so what could they do?
Said the fly,
Let us flee,
let us fly.
said the flea,
And they flew through a flaw in the flue. Flies fleeing and fleas flying are nothing. Wait till you see the whirling beetle. Here's Paul Fleischman's poem.
Whirligig beetles. We're whirligig beetles. We're swimming in circles, black backs by the hundreds. We're whirligig beetles. We're swimming in circles, black backs by the hundreds. We're spinning and swerving as if we were on a mad merry-go-round. We're spinning and swerving as if we were on a mad merry-go-round. We never get dizzy from whirling and weaving and wheeling and swirling. We never get dizzy from whirling and weaving and wheeling and swirling. The same goes for turning, revolving and curving, gyrating and twirling. The same goes for turning, revolving and curving, gyrating and twirling. The crows fly directly, but we prefer spirals, arcs, ovals, and loops. The crows fly directly, but we prefer spirals, arcs, ovals, and loops. We're fond of the phrase, as the whirligig swims, meaning traveling by the most circular, roundabout, backtracking, indirect, serpentine, tortuous, twisty and turny, best possible routes. As the whirligig swims, meaning traveling by the most circular, roundabout, backtracking, indirect, serpentine, tortuous, twisty and turny, best possible routes.
Yes, animals stay true to their natures. They can't help it. During the period of the Harlem Renaissance, Langston Huges was a major voice of the African-American experience.
In these two poems, he declares the true frustration of dreams deferred and the beauty of dreams for a world of freedom, peace, and love.
This first poem is called Harlem.
What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode?
This second poem is called I Dream a World.
I dream a world where man no other man will scorn,
Where love will bless the earth and peace its paths adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way,
where
Greed no longer saps the soul,
nor avarice blights our day.
Oh, world I dream, where black or white, whatever race you be,
will share the bounties of the earth.
And every man is free.
Where wretchedness will hang its head, and joy, like a pearl, attends the needs of all mankind. Of such I dream my world.
The Road Not Taken is a famous poem written by Robert Frost. We have seen that we must be true to ourselves and we should be responsible for which path we choose.
No matter what we choose, it's up to us to make the better choice.
And that will make all the difference.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood,
just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing fair had worn them really about the same.
And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black.
Oh, I take the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
The 8th graders have selected poems that depict our process of discovering pathways to wisdom and fulfillment.
We want to celebrate the opportunity we have to be on this pathway.
We have come to a crossroads at this stage of our lives.
We want to celebrate the rich guidance and fruitful experiences we have had up to this point.
And now we look ahead to discover pathways that will lead to our fulfillment and to gather wisdom along the way.
Tonight, we celebrate this opportunity.
Follow us as we take you on the path of discovery.
It may begin with some uncertainty about who we are, but we will learn that it is okay to be ourselves. Shyness by Pablo Neruda. I scarcely knew by myself that I existed, that I was able to be and go on being. I was afraid of that, of life itself. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want my existence to be known. I became pallid, thin, and absent-minded.
I didn't want to speak, so that nobody would recognize my voice. I didn't want to see, so that nobody would see me.
Walking, I pressed myself against the wall, like a shadow slipping away.
I'm Nobody.
Who are you?
By Emily Dickinson.
I'm Nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. But don't tell. They'll advertise, you know.
How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a fraud. Tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bond.
On this path, being a show-off leads to nowhere. At some point, others will see how pride leads to your downfall.
Casey at the Bat by Ernest Lawrence Thayer.
The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville 9 that day. The score stood 4-2 with but 1 inning more to play. And then when Cooney died at first and Barrows did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game.
A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to the hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They fought. They thought if only Casey could but get a whack at that. We'd even put up money now with Casey at the bat.
But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake. So upon that stricken multitude, grim melancholy sat for their seat, but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat.
But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all. And Blake the much despised pulled the cover off the ball.
And when the dust had lifted and men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second and Flynn a hugging third.
Then from 5,000 throats and more, there rose a lusty yell.
It rumbled through the valley. It rattled in the dell. It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flats. For Casey
No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat.
10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded as he wiped them on his shirt.
Then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eye, a sneer curled Casey's lip.
And now the leather-covered sphere comes hurtling through the air. And Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped.
That ain't my style, said Casey.
Strike what?
The umpire said.
From the benches black with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore.
Kill him! Kill the umpire!
Shouted someone in the stand.
And it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand.
With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew. But Casey still ignored it.
And the umpire said,
Strike two!
Fraud! Cried the maddened thousands, and echo answered fraud.
But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed.
They saw
His face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain.
And they knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again.
The sneer is gone from Casey's lips. His teeth are clenched in hate.
He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate.
and now
The pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow.
Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright.
The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. Somewhere men are laughing,
And somewhere children shout.
But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.
We can't cover up our shortcomings like the fox in this fable by Joseph Lorne.
The Fox and the Grapes. One summer's day, a fox was passing through a vineyard. Faint he was, and hungry too.
When suddenly his keen eye chanced to fall upon a bunch of grapes above the wall.
Aha! Just the thing!
He said.
Who could resist it?
He eyed the purple cluster, jumped, and missed it. He coughed.
I'll take more careful aim.
And sprang again. Results were much the same.
Although his leaps were desperate and high, at length he paused to wipe a tearful eye and shrug a shoulder.
I'm not so dry, and lunch is bound to come within the hour. Besides,
He said.
I'm sure those grapes are sour.
The moral is, we seem to want the peach that always dangles just beyond our reach.
Yet, like the fox, we must not be upset when sometimes things are just too hard to get.
These two poems by Langston Huges show us how to have dreams, mother to son.
Well, son, I'll tell you. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
It's had tacks in it,
And splinters.
and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor.
Bare, but all the time.
Eyes have been a climbing on,
And reaching landings.
and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light.
So, boy, don't you turn back.
Don't you set down on the step.
'Cause you find it's kinder hard.
Don't you fall now, for Oz is still going, honey. Oz is still climbing.
And life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
The mother in that poem is telling her son to hold fast to dreams.
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly.
Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen with snow.
in 5
Sure.
chapters.
By Portia Nelson.
Chapter 1. I walk down the street.
There's a deep hole in the sidewalk.
I fall in.
I'm lost. I'm helpless.
It isn't my fault.
It takes forever to find a way out.
Chapter 2. I walk down the same street.
There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it.
I fall in again.
I can't believe I'm in the same place.
But it isn't my fault.
It still takes a long time to get out.
Chapter 3. I walk down the same street.
There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there.
I still fall in. I know, it's a habit, but my eyes are open.
I know where I am.
It is my fault.
I get out immediately.
Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street.
We have to hold on to the experiences that lead to fulfillment. To do this, we only have one enemy. Television by Roald Dahl. The most important thing we've learned, so far as children are concerned, is never, never, never let them near your television set.
Or, better still, just don't install the idiotic thing at all.
In almost every house we've been, we've watched them gaping at the screen. They loll and slop and lounge about and stare until their eyes pop out.
Last week, in someone's place, we saw a dozen eyeballs on the floor.
They sit and stare and sit until they're hypnotized by it, until they're absolutely drunk with all that shocking, ghastly junk.
Oh yes, we know it keeps them still. They don't climb out the windowsill. They never fight or kick or punch. They leave you free to cook the lunch.
And wash the dishes in the sink. But have you ever stopped to think, to wonder just what exactly this does to your beloved little tot?
It rots the sense in the head!
It kills imagination, Dad. It clogs and clutters up the mind.
It makes a child so dull and blind.
Can no longer understand.
A fantasy, a fairyland.
His brain becomes as soft as cheese.
His powers of thinking rust and freeze.
He cannot think.
He only sees.
All right, she'll cry, all right, she'll say, but if we take the set away, what shall we do to entertain our darling children? Please explain.
We'll answer this by asking you, what used the little ones to do? How used they keep themselves contented?
Before this monster was invented, have you forgotten? Don't you know? We'll say it very loud and slow.
They used to read.
They'd read and read
and read and read, and then proceed to read some more.
Great Scott!
That's Zeus.
One half of their lives was reading books.
The nursery shelves held books galore.
Books cluttered up the nursery floor.
And in the bedroom, by the bed, more books were waiting to be read. Such wondrous, fine, fantastic tales of dragons, gypsies, queens, and whales.
And treasure isles and distant shores, where smugglers rowed with muffled oars, and pirates wearing purple pants, and sailing ships and elephants.
And cannibals crouching round the pot, staring away at something hot. It smells so good, what can it be? Good gracious, it's Penelope.
The younger ones had Beatrix Potter with Mr. Todd, the dirty rotter, and Squirrel Nutkin, Pigling Bland, and Mrs. Tiggywinkle, and
just how the camel got his hub, and how the monkey lost his rub. And Mr. Toad, and bless my soul, there's Mr. Rat and Mr. Mole.
Oh, books, what books they used to know, those children living long ago. So please, oh please, we beg, we pray, go throw your TV set away.
And in its place, you can install a lovely bookshelf on the wall and fill the shelves with lots of books, ignoring all the dirty looks.
the screams and yells, the bites and kicks,
the children hitting you with sticks. Fear not, because we promise you that in about a week or two of having nothing else to do,
they'll now begin to feel the need of having something to read. And once they start, oh boy, you'll watch the slowly growing joy
that fills their hearts. They'll grow so keen. They'll wonder what they ever see in that ridiculous machine.
That nauseating, foul, unclean, repulsive television screen. And later, each and every kid will love you more for what you did.
On this path, we learn to become comfortable with who we are.
Maybe that's your problem too, by Jim Hall. All my problems, who knows? Maybe everybody's problems is due to the fact, due to the awful truth that I am Spider-Man. I know, all the dumb jokes, no flies on you, ha ha. And the ones about what do I do with all those extra legs in bed? Well, that's funny, yeah. But you try being Spider-Man for a month or two. Go ahead. You get those crazy calls from the governor asking you to trap some boogler who's only trying to whip off color TV sets. Now what do I care about TV sets? But I pull on the suit, the stinking suit, with the sucker cups on the fingers, and I get my wolves and little bundle of equipment, and then I go flying like crazy across the town, from rooftops to rooftops, till there he is, some poor dumb color TV slob, and I follow him, and we wrestle with him, until I get him all roped. So big deal. You think when you're Spider-Man, there's something big going to happen to you. Well, I tell you what, it don't happen that way. Nothing happens. Governor calls, I go. Bring him to police. Governor calls again. Like that, over and over.
I think I try something different. I think I try something exciting, like racing cars.
Something to make my heart beat at a different rate.
But then, you just can't quit being something like Spider-Man.
You Spider-Man for life!
Forever!
I can't even burn my suit.
It won't burn.
It's flame resistance.
So maybe that's your problem too. Who knows? Maybe that's the whole problem with everything. Nobody can burn their suits. They all flame resistant. Who knows?
We can't burn our suits. We are who we are.
And when we begin to know ourselves, we can set goals for ourselves.
The Drum,
by Nikki Giovanni.
Daddy says the world is a drum, tight and hard.
And I told him I'm gonna beat out my own rhythm.
Once we have learned to bear some responsibility for our lives, the path of wisdom leads us on to see that life isn't just for ourselves.
I sought my soul, by William Blake. I sought my soul, but my soul I could not see.
I sought my gods, but my gods eluded me. I sought my brother, and I found all three.
And if we keep seeking, we discover that we can find fulfillment each and every day.
Today and Tomorrow by John Dryden.
Happy the man, and happy he alone, he who can call today his own.
He who, secure within, can say, tomorrow do thy worst, for I have lived today.
Despite days of darkness, you live your life by the light you find.
The Dream of Now by William Stafford.
When you wake to the dream of now, from night and its other dream, you carry day out of the dark like a flame. When spring comes north and flowers unfold from earth and its even sleep, you lift summer on with your breath, lest it be lost ever so deep. Your life you live by the light you find, and follow it on as well as you can, carrying through the darkness wherever you go, You're one little fire that will start again.
There will be times when we forget who we are.
The poet Mary Oliver puts it like this: we are so distant from the hope of ourselves.
She shares as she finds hints of gladness and light.
In her poem, When I Am Among the Trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willow and the honey locust.
Equally, the beech, the oaks, and the pines.
They give off such hints of gladness.
I would almost say that they save me, and daily.
I'm so distant from the hope of myself,
in which I have goodness and discernment.
And never hurry through the world,
but walk slowly and bow often.
Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out,
Stay a while. The light flows from their branches.
And they call again.
It's simple,
they say.
And you too have come into this world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine.
When we can once again go into the world and shine, we bring light to others.
Famous by Naomi Shihab Nye. The river is famous to the fish.
The loud voice is famous to silence, which knew it would inherit the earth before anybody said so.
The cat sleeping on the fence is famous to the birds watching him from the birdhouse.
The tear is famous briefly to the cheek. The idea you carry close to your bosom is famous to your bosom.
The boot is famous to the earth, more famous than the dress shoe, which is famous only to floors.
The bent photograph is famous to the one who carries it, and not at all famous to the one who is pictured.
I want to be famous to shuffling men who smile while crossing streets.
Sticky children in grocery lines.
Famous as the one who smiled back.
I want to be famous the way a pulley is famous.
Or a buttonhole. Not because it did anything spectacular,
but because it never forgot what it could do.
If we look back, we can see that there is always someone before us from whom we can learn.
This is the end of the poem Ulysses by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Though much is taken, much abides.
That which we are, we are.
One equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and faith, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield.
This poem by William Ernest Henley is called Invictus. Invictus is Latin for unconquered.
By staying on this pathway, we can discover that we remain strong in the hopes of adversity.
Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul.
In the fell clutch of circumstance, I had not wit nor pride allowed. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed.
Beyond this place of wrath and tears
looms but the horror of the shade,
and yet the menace of the years
finds and shall find me unafraid.
It matters not how straight the gate,
how charged with punishment the scroll.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Our final poem is a celebration of wisdom and fulfillment.
It is called If by Rudyard Kipling.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you.
If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too.
If you can wait and not be tired of waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies.
Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet don't look too good nor talk too wise.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same.
If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools.
Or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools.
If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss,
and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathing a word about your loss.
If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone.
And so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on.
If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch.
If neither foes nor friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much.
If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run.
Yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more,